Alrighty, it's good to be here. It's a Friday afternoon and hopefully you're all getting close to being ready for a weekend. I hear it's going to be nice and sunny, in the 70s I think, so that's going to be really cool. Wherever you are in the world it may be a little bit different. I think this weekend we've got the Rocket City Adventure Race on, which is going to be good fun on Sunday. Money's being raised for Girls on the Run of North Alabama. So that's something we've got to look forward to. But what I want to cover today is a little bit about carpal tunnel and some sort of things that I've seen in my career and I saw yesterday, something that's happened more than one occasion. So people assume you got some pain kind of in the wrist going into the hand, maybe some numbness, that it is carpal tunnel. And or in fact some people just assume pain around the hand that's kind of more widespread is carpal tunnel, but this may not always be the case. And we can do a test, a very simple test which we call a Tinel's test, where we tap over the carpal tunnel here and we can tap and try and reproduce some of that numbness if the nerve is sensitized through there. And that's all well and good, but that doesn't always guarantee that that's the problem. There are investigations that they can do where they're looking at the nerve conduction through the carpal tunnel to see is there any interruption. That is one way of showing it better. But even then, still, just because it's relatively positive, it doesn't mean that doing, say, a surgical carpal tunnel release is going to give someone the relief that they want. And so I've seen people before who've come in, who've had surgery for their carpal tunnel and haven't gotten relief. I've seen someone who in the past who had shoulder surgery and they'd mentioned about having some hand symptoms. They were told, oh, it's just carpal tunnel. When we do the shoulder surgery, we'll release your carpal tunnel at the same time. And they didn't get any relief from either. They actually still have problems. And as we go through this little Facebook Live today, you're going to kind of find out why that might be the case. Well, let's just backtrack a second, and you might be listening to this even now or after the fact and thinking, okay, what is the carpal tunnel? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch screens here. We're going to do a screen share, and I'm going to switch to this. So hopefully you can see my screen here. And what I'm going to show you is what the carpal tunnel is. I'm just going to press like on that. So you're looking at a hand. We're looking, here is the thumb. Let me see if it lets me click on what I'm trying to click on. Come on. Where are we? Exit. There we go. So here's the thumb, and here is the little pinky finger. And then here is what we call the transverse carpal ligament. And this basically forms the base of the carpal tunnel. So then you can see several muscles up here that have tendons. So you see those yellow tendons there. There's another yellow tendon there that make up some of the structures that go within the carpal tunnel. And then here you see the median nerve. So this basically is the structure that usually gives people a lot of discomfort within carpal tunnel pain. So when I'm doing that Tinel's test where I'm tapping, and I'll show you here, hopefully you can see that in the corner of the screen. When I'm tapping over here, we call it Tinel's test, and we maybe get some numbness develop in the hand. That's suggesting that there is a sensitivity of that median nerve. So when there's inflammation, let's say inflammation of these tendons, these flexor digitorum profundus, basically that's a long name for one of the muscle groups and tendons that flex the four fingers, not the thumb. But when that tendon becomes maybe inflamed, it becomes enlarged, you can get a reduction in space within that carpal tunnel. I'm going to just draw a little circle here around the carpal tunnel so you can kind of see it's that through there. So those tendons are all passing through the passing through the carpal tunnel. So if those tendons are inflamed, enlarged, you can get a pressure occurring on the median nerve. Let's see, we'll get back out of that toolbox. So there's your median nerve again. So those tendons next to it, when they become enlarged, either these ones here, this one here, they can cause pressure to occur on that median nerve. So that's the traditional carpal tunnel, and we see it happen more for pregnant women because there's more fluid on board, so there's typically less space, so women tend to have more problems with carpal tunnel. Another condition that they have is it's called de Quervain veins, which is an issue involving the thumb because the tendons run within sheaths. Actually, this is a tendon sheath of one of the muscles that's involved in de Quervain. That one I just highlighted green. So yeah, so when pregnant women tend to have more carpal tunnel problems than other people. People who do exercises or hobbies or work where they're doing a lot of finger flexion and maybe they're overusing these tendons here, they tend to have more of a chance of developing carpal tunnel. But you know, the title of the Facebook Live today was "When is carpal tunnel not carpal tunnel?" So we're talking about the median nerve being the problem. Well, the median nerve isn't just here at the hand. I mean, you can see as it goes off the top right of my screen that it goes somewhere else. I'm going to go to a different tab. It may take a second to get where we want it to. But here's where the median nerve goes. You can see the purple median nerve going all the way up to the shoulder. And then basically there's actually 5 nerve roots here that from the neck that make up the median nerve. So it's not just, when we say the median nerve, yes, it's one structure as it gets down here at the wrist, but it's actually made up of nerve roots from 5 places in the neck. If we go to this next screen, you'll be able to see how the nerves come out of the neck. So if I move the model around a little bit, you'll see how there's space, a little space we call the foramen, where the nerve roots come out of, and you can see here discs, for example. Those discs, they can bulge, they can herniate, creating less space. We can see these joints here, these little green joint here that I've circled, and I'll just circle it here. So we've got the facet joint of the spine. That facet joint can become arthritic, it can become enlarged, and that can cause some problems. But basically, when you have something, don't mean to draw there, when you have something going on at the nerve root level here, be it a disc bulge, be it a disc herniation, be it some enlargement of the facet joints, maybe some arthritic changes, or even just inflammation around that nerve root, you can get symptoms that mimic carpal tunnel. And I'm going to switch back off of screen share to me. So you get to, where are we gone? Lost my screen. Here we go. So basically, we can get carpal tunnel-like symptoms that are actually coming from the neck. And they'll still produce a positive Tinel sign where we tap and we get numbness in the hand because the nerve is sensitized. It's just censored. The problem is coming from up here. So this person I saw the other day, they thought that they had carpal tunnel in both hands. They actually, incidentally, did have actually a thumb pain, which I mentioned earlier, de Quervain syndrome, and that was actually their main problem. But they had numbness that they develop occasionally. As I talked to them more, it actually became apparent that they had neck pain as well. And so as I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, okay, this doesn't just sound like carpal tunnel. The fact it's on both hands. Yes, they have a repetitive hobbies and repetitive job where they're using their hands a lot, so carpal tunnel could be the case. But they also had neck pain, and so I did a test on them. And basically, I tested them by what we call Spurling's test, where you take them into extension and you turn and you bend them to the side, and then I push down. And basically, that's loading up the back of the neck here, and it's pinching down the vertebrae, it's pinching down the nerve roots. And when I took him out of that test, he was left with tingling developing in his hands. And basically, if it was just pure carpal tunnel here, you wouldn't expect the neck to reproduce that. So basically, it made me think, okay, what he thinks is carpal tunnel in both hands is likely actually coming from the neck. So I did this Sperling's test on the other side, extended, rotated, side bended, and pushed down. And he also got the same thing happen in the other hand. So I'm like, okay, how do we test this further? So I took him and I had him lay down on the table, on the treatment table. I put a little towel roll under his neck, and I did a very simple little exercise where he just nodded and tucked. So he's laying down. If I go to the side here, if I have a towel that's rolled up here as a pivot point and I'm gently nodding and tucking, I'm relatively flexing my neck. Whereas the test that reproduced the discomfort, reproduced the numbness, extended and closed everything down, this little exercise of nodding and tucking opened stuff up. It opened up space around the nerve root. Well, having created numbness, we did that exercise and the numbness went away. I didn't do anything to the hand and the wrist. There was nothing that I did to try and affect the carpal tunnel. Instead, what I did was I did something to the neck, and all of a sudden the tingling went away. So I could basically create his pain with extension and compressive positions, but I could then take his pain away with something of a gentle flexion. So let's say that person had attended in an office of a physical therapist or an orthopedist, and they had been just, the focus of the examination had been the hand, and it hadn't taken a step back and looked more globally. They may have been treated for carpal tunnel. Now, they may have been able to reduce some of the sensitivity locally around the median nerve, but I don't think that that would necessarily have fixed this person's problem. And I've seen, like I say at the beginning of the video, I've seen plenty of people over the years who've had carpal tunnel release surgery and haven't felt better from it. And it's probably because it really wasn't carpal tunnel in the first place. It was actually probably something that was originating from the neck. Interestingly, this other person, their thumb pain that they thought was carpal tunnel, that was what they thought the main problem was not. It was something called de Quervain's tenosynovitis, which basically, if I make a thumb in my, let's see, that's right. Take my thumb, put it inside my grip, and I go down like this. It's called a Finkelstein's test. All of a sudden, it created pain across the top of his thumb. And it was pretty positive for that. And that, again, was kind of an overuse type injury, like a carpal tunnel, a true carpal tunnel would be. So this person actually had two things. One was a local hand problem, this de Quervain's, and the other was numbness occurring in the hand, but that was actually coming more from the neck. And one of the, I guess the hint of that was the fact that as I asked him more questions, and I don't know why my video has gone green. That's weird. Let's go off of that and come back. Strange. I don't know if it's green your end, but anyway, the telltale of why of what was going on was that he had some neck pain. He reported some neck pain along with his carpal tunnel type symptoms. So anyway, I honestly do not know why my video has gone green. That's very, very strange. So, carpal tunnel isn't always carpal tunnel. There are other things that can masquerade, and that's the same in other things within our body. We see different things masquerade, but carpal tunnel could be actually more of a neck problem and not actually a real carpal tunnel. So in this case, it was very simple to differentiate that, and hopefully we can take this person and help them to get better from it, and to where it actually doesn't come back and continue to bother them. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions who's still online? I say I don't know why my camera has gone green. I don't know if it's green on your end as well. It's very strange. Anyone have any questions about carpal tunnel or neck pain? Like I say, this person, they had what they thought was carpal tunnel, and it actually was neck pain, and this is not an uncommon thing for me to see. I don't know why my camera is green right now. At least it's green my end. If it's green your end, you can tell me, or you can ignore it. But do you have any questions about carpal tunnel or neck pain or anything else? I'll be happy to answer them right now while I am on screen. Alrighty, well, if you've watched this video after the fact and you have questions, you're always welcome to message me, and message me on Facebook, message me via email, or drop me a call. I will be happy to chat. So I'm going to sign out, and you'll have a good weekend.